Does the Senate work for big pharma that hires lobbyists and people who make giant campaign contributions? Or does the Senate work for the American people who actually sent us here?
Hi everyone, I'm Spiro for Newsbud.com, and that was Senator Elizabeth Warren speaking on the Senate floor on November 28th. She's talking about House Resolution 34, known as the 21st Century Cures Act.
There's a bill in Congress that could help unlock a cure for Alzheimer's, end cancer as we know it, and help people seeking treatment for opioid addiction finally get the help they need. It's called the 21st Century Cures Act. It's an opportunity to save lives, and an opportunity we just can't miss.
Well, I have to admit that the 21st Century Cures Act sounds very nice, in the same kind of way that the Patriot Act or the Affordable Health Care Act sounded, giving everyone that warm and fuzzy feeling. I know that we all want cures for Alzheimer's and cancer. So the 21st Century Cures Act is supposed to accelerate the pace of cures in America by streamlining the drug and device development process, because according to their own website, the federal drug and device approval apparatus is in many ways a relic of another era. In other words, it's outdated, takes too long, and they're looking to speed up this whole process. So the 21st Century Cures Act was originally introduced and passed by the House in July of 2015 as Resolution 6 at that point in time. Well, after passing the House, the bill stalled, but over this most recent Thanksgiving holiday, the bill was revised, and many of the provisions in the bill were reassembled and repackaged into House Resolution 34, which was originally named the Tsunami Warning, Education, and Research Act, which has nothing to do with what it's become today. And it's no secret that the pharmaceutical industry and the government have enjoyed the perks of the revolving door that exists between them. The current acting FDA commissioner, Robert Califf, was appointed by Obama earlier this year. But before heading to the FDA, Califf was the chancellor of clinical and translational research at Duke University. And he received money from 23 drug companies, including giants like Johnson & Johnson, Lilly, Merck, GSK, and all of this is according to a disclosure statement on the website of Duke Clinical Research Institute. Now, on the FDA website, they state that the Food and Drug Administration is responsible for protecting the public health by ensuring safety, efficacy, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, and other medical devices. So, one of the names being floated right now for the FDA is Jim O'Neill, and this would be under the Trump administration. Well, back in 2014, O'Neill had this to say about the FDA process of drug approval.
Another great, probably even better idea is Mike West's idea yesterday, if you were in this panel, of progressive approval. We should reform FDA so that it's approving drugs after their sponsors have demonstrated safety, and let people start using them at their own risk, but not much risk of safety. But let's prove efficacy after they've been legalized.
At your own risk. Well, O'Neill hasn't been officially named the FDA commissioner by Trump, but the language in the Cures Act is very similar to O'Neill's view on how the FDA should handle the new drug approval process. And this is relying on the drug companies who stand to benefit financially to demonstrate the safety and effectiveness of their new drugs, not the regulatory agencies like the FDA. Although some may argue that the FDA is already a puppet for the pharmaceutical and biotech industries, it looks as though the drug companies are trying to sidestep the FDA altogether. And this could give a whole new meaning to the term FDA Approved.
Because this funding is political cover for huge giveaways to giant drug companies. There are more examples than I can count in this bill, but I'm going to talk about three. First giveaway, legalize fraud. You know, it is against the law for drug companies to market drugs for uses not approved by the FDA. Now, some drug companies find this rule annoying. After all, they can make a lot more money selling a headache pill as a cure for everything from hair loss to cancer. But pushing treatments without scientific evidence that they work is fraud that can hurt people. It also undercuts the development of real cures. And that is why some of the largest law enforcement actions against big drug companies over the past 15 years have involved off-label marketing. Drug companies have paid billions of dollars in penalties. Now, one solution would be for those companies to follow the law, but they prefer Plan B. Cozy up to enough people in Congress to pass this cures bill that would shoot holes in the anti-fraud law. In other words, make it easier for drug companies to get away with fraud.
In Section 3037 of the bill, it allows pharmaceutical companies to promote off-label uses to insurance providers, allowing them to expand their markets while evading requirements of the FDA approval. Now, this bill also promises to speed up approval of new drugs and medical devices by loosening the requirements for the drug makers. Opponents of the bill say that the trade-offs that lie within it could strip the FDA of their regulatory power.
Second giveaway, cover up bribery. Right now, the law requires drug companies to disclose the buckets of money that they shower on doctors and hospitals to encourage them to prescribe certain drugs. It is, by the way, all published on a government website. You can go look up your doctor and your hospital right now online if you want to do that. Now, the drug companies could have responded by ending kickbacks to doctors. But instead, they've chosen Plan B again. Cozy up to enough people in Congress to pass this cures bill that would let drug companies keep secret any splashy junkets or gifts associated with so-called medical education and make it harder for enforcement agencies to be able to trace those bribes.
Over 1,400 lobbyists acting on behalf of more than 400 companies and other organizations lobbied on behalf of the Cures Act. And this is according to the Center for Responsive Politics.
Third giveaway, hand out dangerous special deals to Republican campaign contributors. According to news reports, a major Republican donor stands to benefit financially from selling cellular and regenerative medical therapies. If this guy had his way, he'd be able to sell them to desperate people without a final FDA determination that those therapies were either safe or effective. Of course, that would be against the law right now. So this mega donor has poured millions of dollars into Mitch McConnell's personal campaign coffers and into his Republican super PAC, and now he wants his reward. The Cures Act offers to sell government favors. It delivers a special deal so that people can sell these treatments without meeting the FDA gold standards for protecting patient safety and making sure that these drugs actually do some good.
In the newest revision of the Cures Act, you will see a provision that was not in the previous version. In Section 3033 of the Cures Act, you will find the Accelerated Approval for Regenerative Advanced Therapies, which creates an expedited review pathway for regenerative medicine that allows use of surrogate endpoints and post-approval studies. Ed Borsage is a wealthy businessman and a regenerative medicine investor, and he runs a stem cell firm called Borsage Life Sciences. Now, Borsage donated $2 million to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's super PAC since October of 2015, and Borsage stands to directly benefit from this added provision. In addition to benefiting the drug companies financially and expediting the approval process for new drugs and vaccines while sidestepping the FDA guidelines, ensuring that the drugs are safe and effective, the Cures Act also upholds the legal cover for the manufacturers of vaccines, preventing injured persons from vaccines from taking the drug companies to court. In Section 3093, titled Encouraging Vaccine Innovation, Vaccines Recommended for Use in Pregnant Women, the bill defers potential victims to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Fund, which the government, not the corporations, have paid out over $3 billion since the program's inception in the 1980s. While everyone was still consumed with the results of the presidential election and eating leftovers from Thanksgiving, the House and the Senate both passed the 21st Century Cures Act. Now the bill sits on President Obama's desk, waiting to be signed into law.
I'll sign it as soon as it reaches my desk.
If you found this video useful, share it. Newsbud presentations are only made possible by our viewers. Subscribe to newsbud.com today to become part of the Newsbud community, where soon you will find exclusive content only available to our subscribers.